Sewer fund warranty, there is a $2,076 request for BOT Hamilton and SGIS mapping services. Once again, a number that was budgeted in the water sewer fund, and it's here for your approval. And that's really all I have, unless there's other questions. Any other warrants?
Chair will recognize trustees for purposes of questions. As always, many thanks.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the flash reports and pulling out of the extraordinary expenses.
It helps to compare year to year with sort of.
It gives a much clearer, it gives greater transparency to the real state of play. So, thank you.
Do you want to move to the tax levy before I have a
Okay.
favor? Is that okay to go over? Continue. Do the tax levy before I leave, or I'm not sure you need me. It was passed last month. It's nothing different than the.
No, there's no reason for you to delay your other commitments.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Chair would like under agenda items 8A, B, and C, a motion in block to approve. A, approve financial statements as of October 31, 2019. B, pay bills in the amount of $177,880.21 as listed on the accounts payable warrant A, dated December 10, 2019. And C, pay bills in the amount of $50,183.67. Thank you, Lisa. As listed on the accounts payable warrant B, dated December 10, 2019. May I have a motion in block?
Question.
Oh, yes, sir.
President, what we have, this is B or C?
That's B. Or that's the warrant B, but it's item 8C.
It's C, okay, got it.
And in the packet, it's pages 76
There we go.
through
I
78,
see.
or Peggy's handwritten notes on those.
Sure.
Are
Thank
we
you.
good?
So moved.
Thank you. Okay. Moved by Trustee Berg, seconded by Trustee Mitchell. The clerk will please call the roll.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Mitchell?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Rigby?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Thompson?
Yes.
President Richardson?
Yes, thank you very much. Agenda item 7 is the consent agenda. As the board knows, this vehicle enables us to move a number of measures by omnibus vote in block, as so set forth in the consent agenda. Illinois law permits municipalities to adopt this kind of one single unanimous roll call vote of the Board of Trustees and the village president for a designated group of ordinances, orders, resolutions, or motions placed together for the purposes of voting in a single group. Following the motion second, a brief discussion is possible. We haven't gone to the 11.
No, 6.
Oh,
We just want to make sure we pick it up.
yeah, no, I apologize. I've written all over my page here. I apologize. Thank you very much. I inadvertently overlooked agenda item 6, and this is the first opportunity in the agenda for the public to address the board on non-agenda items, that is, items not otherwise set forth in the agenda. Okay, I see no
Students have any questions or anything? I see bonus points coming in class.
You're thinking, why didn't my teacher do this to me? Later in life, you might be a little vulnerable to insomnia. These meetings are available online, and I can. And now we can move, I'm sorry, to the consent agenda. As I mentioned earlier, this is a single unanimous roll call vote of a number of blocked or grouped ordinances, orders, resolutions, or motions. After the motion is made and seconded, a brief discussion is possible on any of the designated items. If a lengthier one appears needed, then we will remove that item from the motion and consider it separately, either in this meeting or in a subsequent meeting. All matters under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion, and no further discussion will be available. So we have 7A, consideration of a resolution to extend contract for Representation services by Fidelity Consulting Group. B, consideration of a contract with Max Strategies for consulting communications services. C, 2020 employee health insurance. D, sign ordinance provisions. And E, approve the village board and plan commission calendar year 2020 meeting schedule. Does any trustee seek recognition to comment on any of these items? Marvelous. Then Chair would like a motion to approve agenda items 7A through E as stated in the recommended actions of the consent agenda, and let me speak the particulars, Lisa, so you can help me put them in the record. 7A, motion to approve resolution number 2019-R-13. Thank you. A resolution to extend the term of services agreement with Fidelity Consulting Group, LLC, to December 31, 2020. B, motion to approve resolution 2019-R-14. Thank you. A resolution to extend the term of services agreement with Max Strategies Group Incorporated to December 31st, 2020. C, motion to approve an employee health and dental plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield as administered by Better Business Planning Incorporated, and the FSA and HSA be administered by Ameriflex. D, a motion to adopt ordinance number 2019-0-12, thank you, as presented. And E, motion to approve the Village Board and Plan Commission 2020 regular meeting schedule. May I have a motion in block?
So moved.
By Trustee Rigby, may I please have a second? Trustee Thompson, thank you. Clerk, will please call the roll.
Trustee Rigby. Aye. Trustee Thompson.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Mitchell.
Yes.
Trustee Perkins.
Yes.
Trustee Schaller.
Yes.
President Richardson.
Yes. Agenda item 9 this evening is the Administrator's Report.
I wanted to report that Cliff Dietz has completed their biennial routine inspection report for Woodland Drive Bridge over Camp Creek. It has been submitted to IDOT. The bridge is in good condition, and they are recommending the bridge deck be sealed next year, and that's on the standard list of maintenance that IDOT has put out. So I will be getting more information on that so we can include that work in our fiscal year 21 budget. Lake County has a new emergency management specialist, Rebecca Kumar. She reached out last week to introduce herself, and we had a very productive telephone conversation. She does have a copy of her emergency operations plan, and her focus going forward with all the communities is to encourage enhanced county involvement in emergency operations. For example, with winter being upon us, to reach out for warming shelter locations and to get that word out to the public if an event there's an electrical outage or gas outage, whatever, and heating outage in the wintertime. Also concerned with emergency management, last month I attended a disaster planning morning session sponsored by ILCMA. And the focus on that was on preparation to reduce the impact of catastrophic events and disruptions, and talking about the resilience and to adapt and rebounding from those kind of disruptive events that may occur. One of the speakers focused on managing the crisis and the importance of having a communications plan in place, and I'm happy to report that that's under our community alerts and media portion of our emergency operations plan that we've adopted. So we're well suited there. Village Clerk, Lisa Penny-Schlappa, is working on converting our board packets and minutes to an agenda management system utilizing the company iPass. This system will streamline the agendas and viewing of the board packets and assist with tracking information and minute preparation. We are both going through the online training portion now, and Lisa is targeting February to go live internally, and then after we've done it a couple of months to release it to the trustees. So you'll be getting your agendas through that, and one of the nice things you'll be able to click and it'll go to that portion of the agenda. So if we move things around, you can just click on item 8A and it goes to that paperwork. So we're looking forward to this. And the Lake County Board formally approved our intergovernmental agreement with North Barrington and the Sheriff's Office for the 24/7 police protection that our contract is for 3 years.
Questions for the Administrator? There being none, we can move to agenda item 10, the Clerk's Report.
Regarding the winter holiday waste collection schedule, since Christmas and New Year's Day fall on a Wednesday, garbage and recycling collection will be delayed to Thursday. And our winter village newsletter is completed and sent to the publisher and is scheduled to be in mailboxes in the next couple of weeks.
Terrific. Questions for the clerk? Thank you. We can move to agenda item 11, reports of the standing committees. I'll lead off with A, branding and communications, and D, external relations. I'm going to be circulating between now and the end of the year a note to all village leadership, this board, the plan commission, the ethics commission, all of the folks who volunteered their time for a meeting sometime in January, February, on a Saturday morning across the hall in the community room for the purposes of doing a refresh. This board works with this all the time, but I want to make sure that we have a chance to keep our colleagues current on things of our branding strategy. We've spent considerable time and made great progress on it over the last couple of years. And a refresh is always a good idea, especially in the beginning of the year. And I like what I see in terms of Lake Barrington's future. I think it's bright. Make sure that we all have a chance to continue to influence and shape the policies and the priorities that facilitate our quality of life. Under external relations, I attended a meet and greet. We had Lake County State's Attorney Mike Nearhide here explaining the official duties of his office and his work. There was a meet and greet for him in Lake Barrington Shores, which I also attended and got to know him. Very bright, very talented guy. Move to 11B, community relations, special events, and veterans affairs. Trustee Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, for someone who's semi-retired, I'm not finding very much retirement time. So,
I want to take the right those 2 pages.
we expect to have a Friar Farm tree planting update in the January meeting. And also at the same time, you may recall we've been working on July, August, and September music nights. And at this point, we're looking at rock and roll one night, country music one night, and classical or symphony music another night. Village Administrator Karen Dalton Lang, Trustee Rigby, and I attended the Cary All-American Reclaim today, and just to reiterate, it's just a marvelous place, and we certainly hope everyone has the opportunity to visit. Also, the veterans of LBS and the United States Marine Corps just have finalized their annual Toys for Tots program. And again, it's been a wonderful year, and all the residents of Lake Barrington and Lake Barrington Shores did a wonderful job. And I thought I'd show you a couple of photos, if this will work. Let's see here.
No signal.
Ta-da! Oh. That's open?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a room full of high school students.
Yeah, they know.
We worked really hard on this.
Get it going.
We need a smart board.
What kind of connection are you guys using? The USB?
USB.
USB?
We had it all up and I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, wow.
Try HDMI.
Well, maybe another night.
Stop the popcorn.
That's right.
Here's the weather with the blue screen behind you.
It's not getting to see work.
Okay, well, you know, I can carry the laptop around to show everything. That's okay. Okay. All right. And finally, as you all know, we've been talking about having a June 2020 Veterans Festival, if you will, at Friar Farm. And we've been working with Senator McConkey's staff on that, and we've been working on, right now, we've been working on vendors or suppliers who would bring information about veterans to the fair, and Senator McConkey's staff has been working with Illinois-wide veterans types of organizations, and the Veterans of Lake Barrington Shores have been working on the following: AT&T, Allstate, Comcast, Waste Management, Wintrust, State Farm, Liberty Mutual, Aon, Advocate Health System, Motorworks, The Onion Pub, Verizon, T-Mobile, Speedway, Pepsi, Snap-on Tools, Kemper Insurance, Boeing, and Camping World. Pardon me. And Senator McConkey's, this is really a little bit fun. Senator McConkey's people are talking to Gary Sinise's people about Gary and his Lieutenant Dan band performing. And Senator McConkey's staff has said are working on that, and they were having a conversation later today with them. But I thought it was kind of funny when Senator McConkey's staff said, yes, our people are talking to their people. And also, we're also asking, the veterans will be also asking Senator Duckworth and Representative Caston, and of course, our local, not just local, but Illinois-wide local representatives and senators. So as soon as we have, hopefully in January, we'll have some more information about this. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you. We can move to 11C, Economic Development, Trustee Burke.
Yeah, thank you. We've had some lengthy discussion last month. This will be pretty brief, but it's a continuation of discussion that we had. As you know, one of the opportunities that's been identified in numerous studies that we had is for possibility of having a hotel in Lake Barrington. And last month we had met with a firm that specializes in commercial real estate and specializes in studies. And most say that we have to have an elaborate study to go out and attract potential developers for hotels. Through my esteemed colleague here on my left, Trustee Thompson, and through a mutual acquaintance, I believe, he introduced me to a person who works for First Hospitality, and they specialize in placing and developing hotels and restaurants. I had a couple of phone conversations with him and his colleague, Charlie Mueller was his name, and came up with what I think is a really exciting idea. He said, look, you don't need to commission a very expensive, that could be tens of thousands of dollars to do a study. He said, we can do a trend report for you that would look at the area hotels. You create the list, whoever you want to put in the category of surrounding communities and like hotels, for a fraction of the cost, and we can deliver to you what's called a trend report. And this trend report will actually tell you a couple of key pieces of data. One, it will tell you what the occupancy rate is for these surrounding hotels. So what percentage of the time of the rooms are booked, and what the average retail rating per night is. And he said by collecting that data, you could come to a very simple conclusion about whether or not you could support a hotel. So in other words, if the surrounding occupancy rates were in the 70% above, which is where they need to be making money, then it suggests that you could have room, but if they are not at least at combined 70% or above, is likely to say that you might steal a few of those clients based upon proximity, that there's not an overall shortage of rooms available in, say, a reasonable surrounding area. So I've introduced this gentleman to Karen because if there's going to be any spending or approval, I just thought I would shortcut that, have her talk with him and commission this report. It's basically a report, which would be a fraction of the cost of the hotel study. So I think that this is what we pledged to do. We, the committee, pledged that we would always look for ways to be super cost effective. And I think this was a really great idea. And I appreciate the introduction because it gave us a shortcut. In other words, if that is promising, then the next step would likely be the study. But I'd much rather come to you with promising data that says, should we spend this money, than say, let's go spend the money when we have no idea really if we can support this type of use. So I don't know if you have anything further to add to that, Kim?
No, you summarized it great.
Okay. So we'll be following up on that, and it's also something that we can get really quickly because they have a database where they'll basically give me hotels and they'll run a report with all kinds of data on that hotel, and so it'll give us an indication, if you will, of whether this is something that we can support. So the other thing that he did tell us, which I thought was interesting, is he said, you have some things going for you. Hospitals are good. He said rec centers can be good, but we need to get a little more data on what they think their pull is. And so he said there are some things that are going for you that are positive, so and unique, like a hotel and a large rec center, like what we have at Cannon Sports Complex. So he did say it was out of the question. On the other hand, he said things like banquet halls aren't really that reliable because you might fill it on any given weekend, but it doesn't bring in weekday traffic. And he said what you don't have are a lot of businesses to support. So your tough thing with the hotel is filling weekday rooms. That's going to be the trick. Probably not weekend rooms, but weekday rooms. So we have to figure out whether there's a pull for weekday, a demand for weekday rooms. So more on that. That's my report.
Wonderful, thank you. Are there questions for Trustee Berg? It's very encouraging. Thanks for the diligence on this because you stretch those dollars and you upon which to make a decision. Agenda item 11E, Finance, HR, and Administration, Trustee Rick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two items. The first is we had a meeting last week of the IT committee, and very pleased to say we've made a lot of progress. Sean Gallagher at Client First is doing good work, paid him some more money as we keep trudging through this, but we're getting close now. Close to completion, what cloud computing has been done. There's a wireless network that's been established here, internet bandwidth increased, upgrades in the office that continuing to grow, remote access. Peggy talked about the ability to be able to do that. We're still working on some policies and procedures for IT, and that as we mature, they'll get better. Still working on backups, and we'll always continue to work the security issues. PC compliance, we are now looking to do full desktop standardization across the office here, so all the people that work here have pretty much the same kind of software and can pass data back and forth. And we're going to replace some of the PCs and do some upgrading. For example, Debbie's is how
It's ancient, I don't remember.
The building permit had 3 new computers. Debbie's still working on this. She probably needs it, and we're arguing with her. Some people are telling her she needs to have 2 monitors, and she only wants to have 1. So.
Once you have 2 monitors, you never go back to 1.
True.
Yeah.
And with all this, there'll be some training and some risk mitigation will continue to work. Anything you want to add?
Just we're also going to be looking at focusing on records and data retention because there's a lot to that as well with going to the cloud. So we're going to be hashing that out.
Good. Any questions about IT upgrade? I think that's moving along well. The only other thing I'll I'll say is beat Navy.
Take exception to that.
You had your chance.
Oh, golly. 11F, open space and village facilities, trustee Mitchell.
Yes, thank you. Briefly, my report is to thank former trustee Lauren DeJesu and the folks with the Garden Club who filled our pots for us this time and took it off my plate for this season. They look beautiful out front. So a big thank you to those folks who did that.
That was awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. 11G, public safety and gated communities, trustee Schaller.
Well, Administrator Dalton Lang has done a lot of emergency planning. Likewise, I attended the 14th Annual Lake County Emergency Planning Committee Summit. It was up at the College of Lake County. It's kind of an all-day session, but it was interesting. They talked about chemical safety, especially with the railroads that run through here and what's on all of those vehicles and what would happen should there be a problem. But the interesting part was the Beach Park incident, which happened in April of this year, in which chemical ammonia spilled, and people didn't really realize what they were driving into or what they were dealing with. And it was pointed out by the fire chief up in the Beach Park that not only is that a problem, but the communication was a problem, that we now have so many 911 or different 911 centers that one half wasn't communicating with the other half, and therefore the police response and fire response was a little bit delayed. And as I said, when people were driving through this area, fortunately there were no fatalities, but there were some long-term injuries as a result of it. So it was interesting. And then Mike Kaplan, who I just saw put his house up for sale up in near Waukegan, was the weatherman from Class 32, and he talked about exposure. You worry about exposure in the winter, but also about exposure in the summer, and precautions that we need to take under both circumstances. So it was interesting, and even got a certificate suitable for framing as a result of attending. I didn't bring home. As far as the Lake County Sheriff's Department, Scott Kirk is not in attendance with us tonight. We do have representation, but I think things are under control for the most part. If not, let us know. I was in contact with Detective Andrew Martini, who is the detective that has been assigned to some of the recent activity in Lake Barrington Shores. Met with him. He is dedicated to those particular incidents, and he's got a folder, unbelievable, about all the leads and the follow-ups. However, beyond that, they believe it's an insight. It's someone within Lake Barrington Shores that's been involved. For the time being, at least it's slowed down. The Sheriff's Department did issue a news release, though, about Lake County residents pretending to be local government officials. I thought you'd find that interesting. The scam involves con artists calling Lake County residents, introducing themselves as a member of the Lake County Sheriff's Department. They utilize an actual name of an office employee, then informs the victim a Lake County judge, also utilizing the name of an actual judge, issued an arrest warrant. The caller is then instructed to purchase a voucher in order to avoid arrest. So just be aware. I mean, we all get robocalls day and night. I even got a robocall on my own phone. When the voice showed up, I was calling myself. But so if you get something like that, be alert. We did get a kudo. Her husband was an offender bender on his way to work, and she wanted to thank Brett Against It, who's our day shift commander, or day shift deputy, for being there and being kind during the whole ordeal. And she wants to put in a word for the towing company called DNR. They are in our area, towed her husband's car. Gentlemen, they're very helpful, made a bad situation a little better, so it's always nice to get kudos when things are happening positively. Wakanda Fire Department and the Barrington Countryside Fire Department responded to yet another fire in Lake Barrington Shores that happened November 29th. There was heavy smoke on the second floor, particularly in a bedroom. I got an email today that indicated they believe smoking was related with it. Unfortunately, the lady that was in that bedroom has passed away. She was burned over 55% of her body, taken to Good Shepherd, then down to Loyola, but unfortunately passed away. The Conda Fire Department did increase their tax levy. Talk about our tax levy. Their department is going up 4%. So when we talk about our tax levies and staying with it, the interesting part about it is, of course, pensions for those, and they have almost $20 million in their pension. So that's just a way of life for the departments. Barrington Countryside, same type of a situation. I don't think their levy is going up quite as much. Attended that meeting. As far as our subdivisions, our gated communities, finally made contact with the salesperson over at Tallgrass, Roxanne Abamante. They have 4 inventory homes. They have 1 ranch, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and 3,250 square feet. New construction, those 4 are available immediately. They have 1 recent closing in lot 51. I drove the property today. It is nice to see an awful lot of new homes and lots being developed in Tallgrass. So we got a report from only 3 building permits last year. I think that'll be up next year. There seems to be, it's encouraging because for a long time there wasn't much activity over in Tallgrass, but there does seem to be at this point in time. Enclave is the Enclave. LBS is still there. We have a lot of activity. They had a tree lighting ceremony, and we have a great veterans organization who we're proud of. And thank you very much for the award and all that went into that. Award.
Thank you, wonderful. Questions for Trustee Schaller? John, I really appreciate the effort you make to go into detail on these things. The day-to-day life in the community, Barstow public safety. I appreciate the attention.
It depends so much, Evan. You really almost take it for granted. And sometimes I harp beyond the way I should, but I just think we're so fortunate to have the Lake County Sheriff's Department personnel, the resources that they can bring if in fact you really need it. There was, I think there was an incident down in the industrial area of somebody that was, I just got a police report or arrest report, and there was also a domestic battery dispute up in Lake Barrington Shores. Had to be somewhat substantial because it's a $25,000 bond for this guy from the county jail. So I mean, this is stuff that you wouldn't get in other surrounding communities. And so I really appreciate what you guys do for us.
This is not something this is actually true. Susie knows this because she and Dave live across the street. But my wife has had a Clemson football flag attached to one of those posts, and it has a little curly cue, so you thread it through and you keep it down. Somebody stole it. They didn't steal the Notre Dame flag. They stole the Clemson. Too bad. Yeah. So we figured it was either an Alabama or an LSU or a Georgia or an Ohio State thing.
Probably Georgia. Jim's got his garage.
That's right.
Wait a minute.
I'm watching you.
Wait a minute, Kevin, you didn't take it down, did you? If we check your
Explain me talk to me about the
I just want to point out that Duke had nothing to do with it. That's absolutely nothing.
Thank you. Agenda item 11H is roads and infrastructure. Trustee Perkins.
The only thing I was going to speak of was the Woodland Bridge inspection.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's totally fine. Hey, you know what? Wrong button. That is it. Yeah.
The only question I had to Karen, you might want to give more detail on this than Trustee Perkins is able to. With the snow already having fallen, is Cuba doing a different mix on the road treatments from the traditional salt? Are they doing something kind of newer for the salt concentration issue?
They have in past years too. They do the slurry mix, the pre-wetting.
Okay.
And that's all based on temperature and other conditions of the atmosphere, before they decide what to do.
Thank you. Agenda item 13 is ordinances. We have two items tonight. 13A recreational cannabis zoning and 13B tax levy ordinance. We discussed the tax levy last month, so that comes second. On the first one relative to cannabis, or my notes here, the village planning commission has a role of advising on land use and zoning issues. The village board has a responsibility to look at broader policy questions for the community, including land use and zoning issues. Our consideration tonight does not really take the form of a public hearing. That's already occurred at the planning commission. Our responsibility tonight is to vote on the recommendation before us, and we will, of course, provide an opportunity for anyone who wishes to speak on it. And then I'll call the question. Just as context for residents, Lake Barrington prides itself very justifiably as a premier place to live and raise a family. And we're proud of our branding statement as an oasis of gracious countryside living. Since state lawmakers passed the law allowing recreational cannabis, trustees, all of us have spent an awful lot of time talking with our neighbors and our fellow residents about this issue. And we've received very consistent and a strong majority point of view that Lake Barrington should not allow recreational cannabis dispensaries or retailers to operate within our community. This is certainly consistent not only with our brand statement of an oasis of gracious countryside living, but past decisions we've made with regard to rejecting video poker and off-track betting. Certainly our door is always open to residents and other stakeholders to present their ideas and proposals to the community. And we appreciate the work of the Planning Commission in bringing this forward to us today. Is there any discussion from members of the board? We've kind of had this conversation before. If not, Chair would like a motion to approve ordinance number 2000, it's actually 2019, right?
Yes, again.
That's okay. That's how I heard
Please
that.
make
That's
sure
how I heard
you
that
pay
princely son. 2019-0-13.
13.
An ordinance amending Title 8 zoning of the Village of Lake Barrington Village Code as be adopted as presented, which ordinance would prohibit all adult use, i.e. recreational, cannabis business establishments, and all of the zoning districts of the village. May I have that motion, please?
So moved.
By Trustee Mitchell, seconded by Trustee Thompson. Thank you both. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mitchell,
Yes.
Trustee Thompson,
Yes.
Trustee Burke,
Yes.
Trustee Perkins,
Yes.
Trustee Rigby,
Aye.
Trustee Schauer,
Yes.
President Richardson.
Yes, thank you very much. 13B is the tax levy ordinance. We discussed this in November. There will be quite a bit in the village newsletter that comes out on this, both in the president's letter and a separate article. If anybody would like to make a comment on this, we can. Otherwise, Chair is happy to call the question. No one seeks recognition. Chair would like a motion to approve ordinance number 2019-0-14. Correct, Lisa?
11. It was,
Oh.
it was pre-numbered.
Yeah, got it, thank you. Yeah, thank you. An ordinance for the tax levy and assessment of taxes for the village of Lake Barrington in the amount of $788,000. May I have that motion?
So moved.
By Trustee Schauer, seconded by Trustee Thompson. Thank you both. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Schauer,
Yes.
Trustee Thompson,
Yes.
Trustee Burke,
Yes.
Trustee Mitchell,
Yes.
Trustee Perkins,
Yes.
Trustee Rigby,
Aye.
President Richardson.
Yes, thank you. There is nothing under new business. Agenda item 15 is the second opportunity for the public to address the board. No one is seeking recognition. There is no need for a closed section. So my favorite motion of the evening, Chair would like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas.